Okay, hello everybody. My name is Stephanie Lizette Castillo, and welcome to another video conference about language teaching. Today we have an interesting topic, and it is teach English without teaching English. Maybe you are thinking, what the conference is going to be about. Okay, we are English teachers, right? That is our profession, but our students need more than just the language. And something important that I would like to mention is that we as teachers, we have to go beyond teaching the language. We have students that they are going to graduate and they are going to go into a work environment. They are going to need many skills. They are not going to need just the verb to be, the present continuous, the comparative, superlatives, etc. No, they are going to need many skills. They are going to need critical thinking. They are going to need problem solving in order to be better professionals. Okay, so starting from the language learning process, something that many of us have faced is that many times students are learning the language but just on paper, and we as teachers might think that they are learning the language. Oh yes, they are learning English, because when we give them tests, worksheets, or any exercise, they know everything about pronouns, about the adjectives, about any grammar topic, but they know the language, and maybe they can prove it by passing the test in the writing part. Okay, but if we try to have a conversation with them, just a casual conversation. Imagine that you are in the cafeteria and that you find there a student from your English class, and you are like, hello, how are you? How is everything going at home? And your student just get nervous, and it doesn't work because they cannot talk. They get nervous and they forget everything. So what happened here, that all the multiple choice exercises, all the fill in the blank exercises that they completed in the written test are not useful, because when they want to communicate, when they want to say something, they cannot do it because they get nervous. And this is something that many of us have faced. In my case, I faced it many times, that I was thinking like, oh, that topic is very easy. And I did the homework, I completed all the exercises, the written test, etc. But when I wanted to say something, I wanted to communicate in a fluent way, I couldn't do it. I was getting nervous, and I was like confused, and I was forgetting everything. But what do we have to do as teachers? What we have to do is to move away from grammar. And sometimes it could be a little bit difficult, because grammar is also important, but we have to move away from it. And what we have to do is to provide more opportunities for our students to talk, so that our students can be confident speakers. Okay, confident speakers, not just that you're going to say, okay, get in groups and prepare a role play. And they are going to memorize that role play, that conversation. They are going to memorize the conversation, and then they are going to go in front and they are going to say what they already practiced. No, that is memorization. And we want them to have communication in a fluently way. So, confident speakers, because we have students that will graduate and they will go into a work environment in which they are expected to think at higher levels of cognition, not just to use the verb to be, to use the present continuous. No, they're expected to analyze, to synthesize, to evaluate, etc. And we as teachers, we are a key for the students to develop these skills. And the first factor that I have in order to apply this is that teaching English through the content, not only the form. As I already mentioned, grammar is also important, but we have to be focused on the content. When teaching English, have you ever had the experience that your students can answer written tests and quizzes perfectly well without any problem. And strangely enough, at the same time, these same students fail to maintain a comprehensive conversation. This situation is not uncommon. Many of us have faced that, okay? And it's what I already mentioned, that we have to provide opportunities for our students to talk and to have conversation using the second language, that in this case is English. So how can we address this problem? In other words, what about focusing on both form and meaning, okay? Grammar and also the content, striking a balance between accuracy and fluency based activities means that we should engage learning in meaningful tasks where they have to interact, to negotiate meaning, think critically, synthesize, analyze, and evaluate. Okay, what about if we say to our students, okay, we are going to have a reading exercise about, let's see, about comparatives. Okay, you're going to find the comparatives on the text. No, not just that. Maybe we can share with them a paragraph that is critical, and maybe you are going to say, okay, what was the reading about? And you are going to help your students to analyze that text, not just to find where is the comparative and where is the superlative, but also help them to think in a critically way. Something very interesting is that students are participants and not spectators. And we have to be emphasized on learning by doing. We are not the protagonist of the classroom, we as teachers. And we have to be careful with this because many times the one who has the active role is the teacher. The teacher is talking and talking and talking all the time, and the students are just sitting there on the chair and they are just listening to the teacher. They are just copying or writing on their notebook what the teacher is writing on the board. No, the student is the one who needs to have the active role in the classroom. We are not the protagonists of the class. They should be the protagonists of the class. They should be the ones who are talking. They should be the ones who are having conversation and who are doing things. We are just the facilitators and we are guiding the students into the learning process of the language. So emphasize on learning by doing. Learning not just by completing exercises, written exercises, but have your students communicating, okay? So I was looking for information and I found two models that can be very helpful in order to apply this in our classroom. And the one is progressive model. The factors of the progressive models, I have some of them here, is knowledge. Knowledge is also related to reality. We can use reality, an actual situation that is happening in order to teach our students. For example, right now, what are we facing right now? The COVID pandemic, okay? So we can use this in order to teach our students the language and also to values and many other things. The second factor is it encourages disagreement and celebrate differences. Treat the classroom as a place where differences can be articulated and analyzed. Okay, we have to teach our students to make differences. Okay, what is the difference between this and this? And they are going to be analyzing, okay? They have to analyze that topic and then they are going to find the differences. The teacher is a guide in the learning process, what I was explaining to you. We are a guide, we are the facilitators, and the active role should be the students. Group work is essential, development of social skills. Very good. Why? Because they are going to work and they are going to work with colleagues in their maybe they are going to have meetings. They have to work with people. So those social skills, we have to help our students to develop those social skills, okay? The second model is the constructivism model, okay? Learning is an active, contextualized progress of constructing knowledge rather than acquiring. Learning is active, okay? Is active, not passive. Your students shouldn't be just sitting on the chair all the class. No. Questioning and criticizing are important. Criticizing and questioning. Why? Maybe you are doing a listening exercise. You should ask your student what was the audio about, and your students should have a conversation about that and ask questions to your students, okay, in order to make them speak. Students assume an active role under the guidance and orientation from the teacher, okay? The active role under the guidance of the teacher, okay? We are going to guide our students and they are going to have the active role and we are going to be just there verifying that they are working and that they are right. To evaluate is not to qualify. I like this factor. Why? Because many times our students are just stressed and thinking about the points, okay? And if we want to evaluate their learning, we can do it to formative assessment, not just summative assessment. Okay, here I have a quote that I really like it. It says, progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. George Bernard Shaw. Okay, if we want to grow up as a person and also as a society, we need to be open to change our mind constantly, because as the world changes, we have to change with the world. We don't have to be in the past. We have to be changing as the world is changing. Okay, so that's everything for today's conference. Thank you so much for your attention, and if you have questions, just let me know. Thank you so much.